Good morning. Welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Friday, July 31st. Okay, let's get into the action. Take a look at the S&Ps, which are trading higher by 0.27%. We were up 0.59%. We pulled back a little bit, but market's still very positive on tech and AI-related shares this morning. I mean, the sentiment's really being driven by that earnings report last night from Amazon, which essentially reinforces the confidence in the AI-related spending being able to translate into tangible revenue growth, because that's what we saw with Amazon last night. Oil prices this morning, hey, they turned higher. They were lower, but they ticked higher. Just remember, there's an OPEC meeting this weekend. On the economic front, you get that employment cost index set to be released this morning. This is a quarterly report, so it is paid attention to. On corporate news, you got to start off with Amazon, because the strong earnings announcement really did help to improve the sector's market sentiment over the large CapEx spends. They also did some filing data that shows additional investments in Anthropic and OpenAI. You got to keep an eye on shares of Disney. I mean, they got that new Marvel release going on that starts. It's being released today, and there's other stuff going on that I'll get into later on Disney. On the earnings front, Amazon, Chevron, DXCM, Mohawk, they're all trading higher. Apple, Coinbase, mRNA, and ExxonMobil are trading lower. On Monday, we got Marriott, we got Lowe's, we got Tyson Foods, we got Twist Biosciences, all scheduled to report. Okay, let's take a look over in Europe, see what we see. The DAX is higher by 0.3%, or 78 points. It was up over 200. But it's on track for, like a 3% monthly gain. And the action's really being supported by strong corporate earnings. The FTSE is up 0.13%. It was higher, but mining stocks are leading the gains this morning. France, the market's up 0.79%, with tech and financial stocks, boosting the market. In Asia last night, Asia was the sea of green. I got to tell you, the Nikkei was really big. I mean, it jumped 4%, 4.03%, or 2,494 points, led by gains in tech and semiconductors. The Bank of Japan left their policy rates unchanged at 1%. But ahead of the decisions, there were indications that Japanese authorities intervened in the foreign exchange market to help support the yen. And there's more evidence of that going on this morning. In Hong Kong, the market was higher by 0.1%. Gains were capped by weakness in property stocks. But in China, the market was higher by 0.72%, with gains in tech stocks. However, there was, it wasn't all positive, though. I mean, China's official PMI data slipped back into contraction for the first time, while the non-manufacturing PMI, unexpectedly weakened. And the Politburo meeting delivered few surprises for additional support measures for the property sector, which is why you saw property stocks kind of pull back. Okay, now we're looking over at oil, and oil is up. Got WTI at $85.43 a barrel. That's up 2.2%. Brent is at $90.46, up 1.61%. I mean, the crude oil remains on track for a gain of approximately 20% for the month of July. There's an OPEC meeting this weekend expected to approve a production increase of 188 million barrels per day effective in September. We'll have to see if that has any effect after that announcement hits on Sunday. Okay, now we're moving over to earnings, and we're going to start off with Amazon, because that is the big key. I mean, the stock's up 10.5% this morning. They beat by $3.93 on higher revenue. You look at Apple, and Apple, stock's trading down 7.68%. They beat by 13 cents on higher revenue, but there's supply constraints going on and concerns, and their guidance wasn't great. Then you got shares of DXCM, which are up 8%. They beat by 9 cents on higher revenue. That's interesting to note. And then Monday morning, we got Marriott International Hotels. Their EPS is $3.06. Expected move is 4.83%. Tyson Foods, EPS $1.03. Expected move 7.06% when they release Monday morning. In terms of economic reports, 8:30 a.m. we get employment cost index, 9:45 the Chicago PMI, 10 a.m. University of Michigan consumer confidence data, and then at 1 p.m. you get the Baker Hughes rig count. In terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Apple forecasts for its September quarter fell short of market expectations. Remember, expectations are very elevated to what the companies want to put out there. Amazon price targets are being raised to over, $350 by the major brokers. That's good to see. Google, banks are in talks to provide $15 billion in funding for Anthropic data center, which Google will be providing financial guarantees and chips. What else do we have here? Elon Musk on Tesla dismisses reports of a potential China business sale occurring. In terms of Dow Jones 30 News, Disney is looking to overhaul its streaming platform to increase subscribers. The key movie this weekend is Spider-Man. That's opening. That's expected to win the box office. That's a Marvel movie. Marvel's owned by Disney. Chevron CVX reports record U.S. production, worldwide production up 20% year over year. In terms of guidance news, Apple sees Q4 revenue up. They're talking 111.7 billion to 113.7 billion. Problem is the street estimate's at 114.95 billion. That's kind of a downtick. Amazon sees Q3 revenue coming in 197 to 202 billion. Street estimates 203.92 billion. ABBV cuts their full year 2026 EPS to 13.87 to 14.07. Street estimate headed at 14.12. That's a downtick. Buybacks, Phillips 66, that's ticker PSX, Paul Sam X-Ray. Their board adds an additional $10 billion to its stock buyback plan. Okay, now we're going to go on to our pick of the day. I'm going to go with Palantir. Earnings are out Monday afternoon. EPS is 35 cents. Expected move is 11.51%. You look at yesterday's call volume, 234 calls traded to 122.52 puts. Not 2-to-1, but close. Open interest is 1.8 million to 1.6 million. Now, the major brokers, they're lower in price targets, but they remain positive on the stocks. But the stock was so overvalued. Yeah, it made sense. And if I can get in, if I'm looking at the stock and I'm, hoping to get in the, 122.40 range. I have 122.35 as my entry point. But if I can get in around there, I think that'd be positive. But that's my pick of the day, Palantir Technologies, PLTR, earnings Monday afternoon. Okay, let's move on. Let's see if we see anything that's especially hot moving this morning. Japan touts U.S. support in propping up the faltering yen. Novo Nordisk, NVO, stocks down 10% after it missed a study goal. Moderna's also missed this. They also didn't meet a criteria for early success for its mRNA 1403. BP says it's putting North Sea business up for potential sale. Tesla's out there saying very significant constraints in supply chain. REPL, FDA voted 10-3 in favor of their experimental melanoma treatment. Keep an eye on HIMSS. Expectations on these GLP-1s remain strong as benefits continue to display progress. Microsoft gained nearly $450 billion in market value yesterday. Wow. All right, that's all I'm seeing. Now we're going to talk about our pick of the day from yesterday. And, I did go with Roadblocks, which was RBLX. And, the fact of the matter is we have a 1% goal cap. And once we hit it, we call it a win. And yesterday the stock opened up at $49.46 and ran to $50.92. Fell back to $48.67. Now, I was trading this thing multiple times on Thursday. The volatility was really, the opportunity here. And I was able to go in and out of this multiple times for gains. And, yeah, I was happy with RBLX. Stock's getting hit today, but I don't think the full story is understood. But Roblox was a winner yesterday, so I've got to be pleased with that. All right, traders, you guys know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green.